Thank you everyone for subscribing to Infinitely Productions. If you have not done so, please click the bell and subscribe, and we hope you enjoy our content.
Proposes me into this lifestyle. Another defining moment for me, which I'll get to shortly. So, I'm doing pretty good at that point in time. Okay, after a couple of years, a story comes out, I believe it was Newsday of the Long Island Press. My dad was home on parole, we had a big crew, we're making a lot of money. I had my own jet plane, I had a helicopter, I had a house in Florida, a house in New York, a house in Marina Del Rey, California. I had 300 guys under me ready to do just about whatever we told them to do because everybody's making money. Everybody's happy at that point in time. Story comes out that we were getting powerful enough to break away from the Colombos and start our own family. Zero truth to it. It was like a fantasy. It never happened. It wasn't even a thought in our mind. Nothing to that effect. But you know, things like that start to get into people's heads. And so there was some rumbling on the street. You know, somebody had visited my Russian friends and kind of put a little pressure on them, so on and so forth. My dad is on parole. And normally, to try to protect my dad, I wouldn't let him go anywhere unless he came with me. I didn't have a record at that point in time, right? So, he calls me up, he says, Mike, I gotta see you. I said, okay. So I go to his house in Long Island, and we're in the driveway, and he says, boss wants to see us tonight. I said, okay, we were both captains at that point. I said, okay, what time do you want me to pick you up? He said, well, they want to do this differently. They want me to come in first. They want you to come in second. I said, well, why? Why are they gonna do that? He said, well, this is how they want it. I said, Dad, I don't want to do that. I said, you know, there's some talk on the street, that stupid article that came out, they visited my Russians. I said, no, we're going to go together. He said, no, we got an order, we got to follow the order. I said, Dad, no good. I don't like it, there's no reason for that. Long story short, we're back and forth for about a half an hour. It was the first time I ever really had an argument with my dad. I was upset. Finally, after a half an hour, threw my hands up. I said, you know what, Dad, been listening to you all my life. I don't like it. If you want it, we'll do it. So, I leave. Jimmy Angelina, good friend, another captain in family, calls me. He says, meet me on such and such a place. Boss was on parole, so this had to be a covert meeting. We had to make sure that you know, we weren't followed. So I meet him in Brooklyn, and we had to go to somebody's house. It was going to be the basement apartment of the guy's house. So I park my car, I get in the car, Jimmy's driving. There's another guy sitting in the back. And I recognize him, but I didn't know him well, right? And Jimmy doesn't really introduce him. I get in the car, we're driving, making sure that nobody's following us. I'm waiting for Jimmy to tell me, you know, what's this meeting all about? Because I really didn't know. But he doesn't tell me about it. He talks to me about the Yankees. I'm a diehard Yankee fan. I didn't want to hear about the Yankees that night. I know we're suffering this year, but I didn't want to hear about the Yankees that night, right? And I'm waiting for him, nothing. So we get to the house. It was a day in August, I'll never forget. Summer day, it was warm out. We get to the house, and I get out of the car. I'm assuming Jimmy gets behind me, and the other guy somehow behind him. I don't turn around and look back. It was about a 30-yard walk from this car to the basement apartment. And people, I'm going to be honest with you, one of the horrors of that life, you make a mistake, your best friend walks you into a room, you don't walk out again. And throughout my time, obviously, I'm aware of situations like that. And I'm walking, and I'm starting to get nervous. As a matter of fact, I'll use the right word, I'm starting to get scared. I'm saying, what's going on here? This guy's not talking to me. I'm going down this path here. I don't know what's happening. I don't like this setup. And I'll tell you how nervous I was, scared. I said, when I talk about this, I can see the fireflies, and I can almost smell the fragrance of the flowers because I was scared. I'll be honest with you. My heart pumping out of my chest. I didn't want to, you know, show that I was scared. People have said to me, Michael, why didn't you cut and run? Well, I can tell you this, it wasn't heroic. It was kind of robotic. I almost said to myself, hey, if this is it, you know? And we go down those steps, and I'll be honest with you, when that door opened, I don't know how I didn't faint. It was tough. But anyway, I didn't, and I'm here, right? So we sit down, and they start grilling me about the business and about money and this, because the article also said that I was making $2 billion a year or something. Absolute nonsense. A little bit less than that, but it wasn't $2 billion. That was crazy, right? You know how the days ended. So anyway, back and forth, and I'll be honest with you, I'm starting to get mad. And one thing I learned in life, you never outshine the master, and you don't get mad with the boss. So I kind of control myself, ease myself, answer all the questions. Everybody's satisfied. We get up. Hey, have a glass of wine. Everything's good. You know, no problem. But I was aggravated. I wanted to get out of there. So I said, Jimmy, take me to my car. I got to drive out to Long Island. I got a long way. So we get in the car. And I'll be honest with you, too. I'm mad at Jimmy because he didn't prepare me. I know him my whole life. My whole life. We were good friends. So we get in the car, and I'm ready to blast him verbally, right? And before I do, he says to me, stop, before you say anything to me, I want to tell you something. I said, what? He said, this was a real problem for you tonight, Michael. He says, you held yourself up in that meeting. This could have been a real problem. Now I got even more mad. I said, you know this, and you walked me into there. You don't tell me anything. I said, I know you all my life. This is what you do? Very smart guy. He turned around to me and he said, well, let me ask you a question. If it was the other way around, would you have told me? I thought about it for a minute. I said, no. He said, Mike, this is the life we lead. You know it as well or better than anybody. You grew up around it, didn't you? And I couldn't really say anything to him at that point. I was just thinking about it. And then we get to where my car is. And I go to get out of the car and he grabs my arm. And I'll never forget this, people. It's very, very significant in my life. And he looks at me, he says, Michael, you're not going to want to hear this. He said, but take it to the bank. It's the truth. I said, what? He said, your father was in there before you tonight. He didn't help you one bit. He threw you under the bus. I said, okay. And I got out and I started walking to my car and I'm thinking, because my dad and I were tight, and I'm thinking, what did he do? But then knowing my dad so well, I think I started to put it together. And instead of really sticking up for me, hey, my son would not do this, he would never steal, he would never do this, he kind of said, hey, and I verified this later, I'm on parole. I don't do anything. My son handles everything. I don't know what he's doing. And he just left it like that. And it was serious, because my dad had a lot of juice. He could have said, hey, stop this right now. My son would never do anything like that. But he didn't. And you know what, people? Defining moment in my life, because I said, man, if this life can separate father and son, what do we really have here? And I want to be clear on this. I love my dad. I was very hurt by that. I didn't understand it at first. But as life went on, I kind of understood it without getting all the personal reasons within our family. But I will tell you this.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and check out more of our content. Feel free to give your feedback and suggestions on what we should do next in the comments. This is Infinite Lee Productions. We love ya.